Good morning, you guys. Gonna get set up on Instagram over here, so I'm gonna give everybody a few minutes to hop on. Hey, Instagram. All right, well, I am so glad to be with you guys today. I'm going to introduce myself, and then we're going to hop right into today's topic, which is online classes. And I'm super happy to share on this topic because it's something that I have learned a lot about in the last 2 years and have went on to teach over 100 online classes since I first started. So hopefully today I can give you some great advice on how to start doing online classes, or maybe how to just up level wherever you already are. So a little bit about me. Good morning, everybody. See you jumping in. Please feel free to ask questions, of course, during this, and if I can't stop right then, I'll go back and answer them at the end. We'll probably be on for about 20 to 25, 30 minutes today. I'm going to try to keep it at definitely 30 minutes for you guys. Okay, so my name is Kari Coody. I am so thankful to be on. I'm glad Dana asked me to share. We became very good friends over this past year, and I am just in love with the Live Naturally girls. I love those two, so it's just such an honor to be on. My name is Kari. I'm a Blue Diamond leader with doTERRA. I am the co-founder of A Natural Shift, which is a lifestyle brand where me and my sister, actually we work together and we help women upgrade their habits, take small steps to get to their life goals, their health goals. We love doing that together. And we also have a podcast together called Take the Upgrade. So I hope you check that out. There's some great content over there, just inspirational, great topics that you might want to learn more about. I just actually interviewed Dana. She was on live last week, I believe. So it's a great podcast. Hopefully you check it out. All right, so I wanted to share a little bit of my knowledge in online classes. And I know this is something that, Dana requested me to talk on because she gets asked this a lot, right? And so I wanted to tell you a little bit about why I started doing online classes, give you some just ideas around, if you don't already do them, why it might be a good idea to think about doing them, and then just go into some tactical, practical things that you can do to make yours successful. So I am just a little bit about me to kind of give you some background. So I'm a pharmacist, and I live in a very small town. So I've mainly built my business face-to-face, which is teaching classes, right? Of course, I worked as a pharmacist for about the first 3 years of my business, and taught classes just like many of you on the weekends, at night. I did everything I could on my lunch break, all the things, right? But when I quit my job, I was really ready to take it up a level. It took me a while to get a little bit of momentum back because I had just not been spending that, as much time as I would have liked on my business. But I knew it was time to up level after that. And so I was really ready to take it to that next level. And for me, that was diamond. And I just knew I had to do something different. It was December, it was 2 years ago. And I knew that month is just crazy, right? People are, they're in the holiday mode. They're not probably going to want to come to a class. What was I going to do? Because I just knew in my heart it was time, right? It was time to take that next step. And so I thought, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to do online classes just because, hey, maybe people can tune in online. Maybe they can, take an hour out of their, night just to watch this class rather than a couple hours to come in person. I thought, hey, I'm just going to give it a shot. So by giving it a shot, that means scheduling 19 online classes that month. And they were wildly successful, and I met my goal, and it was awesome. And it was the first time I'd ever taken massive action like that. And it was great, right? So I've continued to do online classes for the last 2 years. Like I said, probably went on to do over 100 of those. So I just wanted to give you, like I said, some tactical tips that you can take away from this so that you can start doing them and be very successful at them. Because let's just face it, people are online a lot more these days. And I don't necessarily, subscribe to, I'm going to do one or the other as far as online classes or in-person classes. For me, really a mixture is best. So I love still to do in-person classes, but also I love still to do online classes. I like to give people a choice, right? It might work better for them to come to an online class, and then they might come to an in-person class when they can. So I just love giving people a variety of ways to learn. So it's kind of my philosophy. I wanted to give you a few other reasons why you might want to think about doing online classes. One, you can reach people out of the area. Just living in a small town, that was very important to me. Obviously, I want to, help the people I can around me, but I just live in a small town, like 10 red lights. So it was very important to me to reach outside my area, and most of my team is outside my area. So, reaching people outside and really just asking people to host that are not in my area. So I'm kind of like tapping into different areas, even around the world, right? We can reach so many more people by teaching online. You're getting in front of a bigger audience and getting in front of, people that you wouldn't necessarily be in front of really in any other situation other than an online class. It's just another point of touch for people that maybe have come to a class, maybe even in person and didn't enroll. You can invite them to an online class. Maybe it's just somebody that you've sampled that hadn't yet taken that plunge. Invite them to an online class, just like you would invite them to an in-person class, but it's just a different way for them to tune in. So it's just another way to obviously, have interaction with those people. It's a great way to educate people that have maybe purchased a kit, but yet haven't come to a class. And that happens a good bit. Somebody will see, something you're doing out and about maybe, and they just never sat down and learned the basics. It's a really great way for them to do that. It's easier for people to join in where they are. Maybe they have kids and they just can't get out of the house, or, maybe they work all day and they just don't want to come to an in-person class yet. They're just not ready for that. And online class is a great time period, about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, that they can watch what maybe they're rocking their baby to sleep, or maybe they're, folding laundry. They can kind of tune in wherever they're at in their life. Sometimes that just works better for people. And then lastly, you're going to reach them where they are. People are on Facebook, especially at night. They're scrolling, catching up, seeing what everybody was doing during the day. So it's just a great way to catch people where they're already at, in their environment that they're already at. So that's just some reasons why I feel like online classes are a great option to kind of think about. Okay, so I wanted to just remind you to go back and look at Keely Martinez's Tips for Tuesday that she did. If you did not watch that, that's going to go along great with this, because she gives you great ideas on how to kind of up-level your Facebook Live, which is really what this is. This is a Facebook Live that you're doing, but you're just teaching a full class rather than maybe just talking on a specific smaller topic. So go back and look at that. I believe it was earlier this month, perhaps. I can't remember the exact date, but go back and check that one out. Obviously, she has great information that's going to go along with this. So I'm not going to talk about any of that per se, because I don't want to reiterate that. I really want to give you tips on how you set classes up, how do you get people to host, how do you follow up with people, all of those things that you may be wondering that are different than an in-person class. And obviously, there's probably different ways to do this, but I'm going to share what I've done. And please ask questions as I go, and I'll try to answer them, or I'll just answer whenever I get done. Okay, so overall, online, these are just some tips. Online, you have to be more animated than in person, right? You're trying to capture these people's attention when they have no oils in front of them most of the time. They don't have any oils, and you're not there to capture their attention, right? You don't have the oils to help you, and you don't have that. They have a lot of other distractions, right? When they're online, they could just drop it very easily. So you have to keep them engaged. And a lot of times you have to be over the top, right? I'm more of a, I don't know, I don't want to say conservative, but I'm just not normally this animated, right? As I would be on in an in-person class. I have to be kind of more over the top, just silly, have fun in an online class. Passionate stories are very important because you're going to capture their attention that way. Laugh, smile. It's very important to act like, well, hopefully you are having fun, but at least maybe you just didn't want to show up that night. Hey, you're going to turn it on, right? Whenever you go live, it's like go time. Like you have to be it's just like, you just have to put on a different persona than you would in person. So that's very, very important because, let's just think about yourself. Would you really want to watch somebody that was just sitting there and they were saying information and, they're just kind of looking bored and they're not looking very excited about the information? Probably not. You're probably just going to click next, but if somebody's laughing and they're having fun and they've captured you with a story and, all of those things, and if it just looks inviting, right? When people scroll by maybe, or they're on the class with me, I want it to look inviting, like, wow, she looks like she's really sharing something she loves and she wants, that maybe it's important for me to hear this. Let me stop and pay attention. So those are all very important things. Okay, now let's talk about the two different ways that you can kind of have an online class. Just like an in-person class, you can host a class yourself. So you can definitely have your own class, invite your people, or you can get somebody to host it for you. And just like for in-person, for me, it's always better if I can get somebody to host it for me, because they're bringing in a whole new audience, and those people they're most likely going to be more apt to come because their friend has invited them. They're going to come for their friend, just all of those things that we know in person is better success rate with somebody else hosting a class for you. Kind of the same thing for an online class. So that's what I would, push you to do, is really to ask other people to host a class for you. And, it's going to be something that sometimes, you maybe ask them to host an in-person class for you and they just haven't had time. It does take more time to host an in-person class. You're going to have to probably clean your house. You're going to have to, take out 3 or so hours, or, maybe 2 hours to have the class. And there's just a lot more things involved. You might have to get somebody to watch your kids. This, may be a little bit more doable for them at that time in their life. So think about all the people that you may have asked to host an in-person class. You're going to ask them to host an online class now as well. Okay, so let's talk about let's talk about it in the context of getting somebody else to host this class for you. So I just want to preface this before I jump in. I'm going to give you some tips on how to make this successful, but I'm also going to share a whole document that I've written up that you can send somebody that is going to host the class for you. I'm going to give you that document, and then I'm going to give you even more on top of that in another document. Sorry, I bumped my desk. That is going to help you be successful at this. So you don't have to take all the notes and write down everything I'm saying, because I'm going to give you that document at the end. I'm going to post it in the comments. So just know that. Okay, so once you've got the date and time set, you're going to send them the little prep information that I'm going to share with you, but I'm going to just highlight some things that are very important on this. So they're going to make the event on their Facebook page, right? They're going to make an event because it's going to show up to all their friends that way. So that's very important. They're going to make the event public, because when you make the event public, it's going to show up on their timeline whenever you go live. So you're going to be in front of a much bigger audience than just those that say they're going to the class. So that's very important. You want it to be public so that anybody can join. You don't want them to invite their entire friends list. This isn't like, I'm just going to add all 500 people that I think might want to come. This is going to be very similar to an in-person class. You're going to want to invite 25 to 30 people, maybe a little bit more than in-person, because a lot of times you would maybe invite 15 to 20 perhaps. So it's going to be a little bit more than that. But at any rate, you're not going to want to invite hundreds of people to this, because you're going to instruct them to send personal invitations to every single person they invite. That's very important. Just like we should try to invite as personally as we can to an in-person class when we're with them, you're going to want to do the same thing online. So, you're gonna instruct them to send a message, a text, call, whatever they feel comfortable with. But it's great if they can say, hey, I know that your son has been struggling with X, Y, and Z. I know that you would love this information. And sometimes you'll get people that host classes that do not use essential oils, but most of the time these people already use them, so they're going to share why they love them as well. So that's really important. So once they've done that, and I get a lot of questions on this next thing. Do you send out samples? Because if the people are tuning in and they don't have anything right there in front of them, is it going to be effective? So I'll just share with you, I don't normally send out samples, but you totally can. If you want to instruct them, hey, let your friends know that I'll send them samples if they would like. If I can get them in time enough, right? You're going to tell them to make the event about a week and a half out. So if we have time and they respond quickly enough, I will send them samples. But I'll be honest, in my experience, I've done that before, and I don't really think the results were that much better. So most of the time, I do not send out samples, but that is totally your preference. And if you want to, you'll just kind of, through the class, you'll say, take out this sample or take out that sample or whatnot and smell it with me, or however you can engage them that way. But just to let you know, I don't typically do that. And I've had great success rate, with these online classes because, again, you're going to be engaging, right? And I think a lot of times people think, well, they need to smell them, they need to experience them before they purchase. Well, I didn't do that. I know lots of people that I've enrolled have not ever smelled an essential oil. They just are captivated by the possibility. They're having a health concern and they want to use it for that. So don't be tied to that as far as, how are they going to experience these oils? They're going to experience them when they purchase the kit, and then you walk them through how to use them, right? So it's a little bit on samples. Okay, so once the event's made, once everybody's invited, and the people that say they're going, you're going to want to follow up with these people because it's very important to remind them that the class is coming up. Just like an in-person class, people forget all the time, and it's going to be a lot probably easier for them to forget if they're going to, if you're trying to get them to tune into an online class versus an in-person class, because it's easier to not come. So you're going to want to instruct the people that are hosting for you to follow up 3 days prior and then the day of. I would say 2 to 3, but definitely follow up the day of and just remind them that the class is coming up that night. They hope, you hope to see them there, all of those things. So definitely follow up with that. And I always let the person that's hosting for me know that, what to expect. And that's in the document that I'm going to provide to you guys. But I just want them to know they need to be on live at 8:30 or whenever, the class is starting. And you're going to want them to actively comment. They're going to be really active during the class because they're going to be engaging their friends. They're going to be sharing testimonies, whatever it might be. So you need to make sure they know that they have to be on during that time and be commenting and just be engaging to the people that are on. So in the event, before the class, I normally post the day of. I'll post maybe a video that's very captivating from doTERRA. I'll say, I'm really excited to be joining you tonight. And then I'll also include one more thing. I want to prompt them to post what they're most interested in learning about, because just like when somebody comes to an in-person class, you want to be able to address their needs. And so I'll even give them the option of, hey, just private message me or let your friend know if you don't want to post, because some people don't, want to talk about their depression or their anxiety or constipation or something like that. So just make sure they know that it can be done in an anonymous form. But getting to know them and knowing their needs is really important, just like it is when they come to an in-person class. So I'm going to do, I'm kind of going to get to this in a minute, but I always do a giveaway at the end of the class, kind of keep them engaged, keep them going all the way to the end. But you're going to want to put in there, hey, if you comment below with one of your issues, you'll get an extra entry into the drawing. So I always do that, and that usually prompts people to post under my prompt. Okay, let me look at my notes and make sure I'm going on here. Okay, so in the actual class teaching, you're going to teach it very similar to the way that you would teach an in-person class. And for them to have a reference, I like to post the Live Naturally teaching guide, Live Naturally handout in the group, or excuse me, in the event, because I want them to be able to print it out if they want to. They can have it up and look at it during the class. So some people like that and some people don't. So, they'll just listen to me instead of having a handout. But lots of people like to have something in front of them. So I'm going to post that up there for anybody that wants to look through it before the class or have it up while I'm teaching the class. So that's one thing that you definitely want to do. Normally I'll do that the day of when I'm posting, all the other things that I mentioned. So when you're actually teaching the class, it can be very helpful to have the teaching script from Live Naturally up, because you're going to want to stay on track, especially if this is something new for you and you're like, oh, I gotta talk to myself. This is weird. So, a lot of us are probably used to doing Facebook Lives, whether it's in our groups or, whatever it might be. This is a little bit longer version of that, I would say. And it's just a little bit different than you're used to. So you're going to want to have something to keep you on track. So that teaching script is great. You can highlight different points because you're not going to want to look at it all the time, but just to keep you on track of the different things that you want to say, you can kind of have it up, with your phone. Because note to self, you can't go live an event on a computer. So you're going to want to have your phone up so you can sit it right beside your phone, just so you can kind of glance at it every now and then. So that's very important because you're going to want to be engaging, and sometimes when you're engaging, you forget what you're saying, and you forget kind of where you are in the class, and so having something as a point of reference is really important, and it'll make you feel more comfortable as well. So I had that up for a long time. Now I don't necessarily have to have that, but it was very helpful and needed in the beginning. Okay, so we're almost at time, just a few more things. So the giveaway, like I said, I mentioned, I always do one at the end. It can be anything you want it to be. You know, I love using those upcycle, like losing my train of thought, upcycle labels that you can get from Live Naturally and use on your old bottles and get the spray tops. You can just give away like a Clean Hands or any of the other ones that they have. That's a great thing to give away. You have like just a few roller bottles or, you know, a little booklet, something, you know, I like to give away things that they can use with their oils, and just things that encourage them to, whenever they get their kit, they can use this with that instead of just giving away oils, which that's fine, but I always like to give something away that they can use with their oils. So just make sure you wait to the end to do that, and tell them to comment below with their biggest takeaway, and that's their entry into the giveaway. So then you kind of know what you might can follow up with them about, you know, that they're really excited about. And it just gives them a, you know, entry into that giveaway. And then when I get off, I'm going to post who the winner is in the group. So, or excuse me, in the event. So that's the giveaway, and it's super important. After the end of the class, you're going to want to make sure your host messages everybody that was on live immediately, like right then, because they're still online, right? You want to engage them. They're excited. They just heard about all this new exciting information. You're going to want to engage them right then. Just like you want to engage them at the end of the class, they're excited about what they learned, and you want them to go home, you know, knowing that they're going to get their kit in a few days, and they're excited about that, and just kind of continue that excitement. So message everyone and just tell them to message everybody that was on live and say, I'm glad you could join in. What were you most excited about? Just whatever they feel like is engaging, but make sure that they message them right now. So whenever somebody hosts a class, they're going to know, hey, I've got to invite these people. I've got to send them messages. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to be on live, but I'm also going to have about 15, 20 minutes at least to engage these people afterwards. And if that person that's hosting for you is not going to enroll these people, then she would need to connect you. You know, she's just going to relay information to you that, you know, you that taught the class, and that you're going to enroll these people, and then you're going to send her a hostess gift, just like you would if somebody were to host an in-person class for you. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to take any questions that you guys have, and I'm just going to kind of look through this really quickly. Do I have any specific video recording platform you like to use for virtual classes? So I'm recommending, what I do is just make an event on Facebook, and I go live in that event. So it's just like I'm live right here with you. That's kind of how it's going to show up in the event, and then people are going to join this, the video that you make in that event. Now, I have done some Zoom classes, but again, we're talking about engaging people where they are. And I feel like it's harder to get people to hop over to Zoom rather than it is to just stay on Facebook. So I have tried Zoom, and I won't say I won't try it again, but I do feel like I get more people on, and I get more engagement and more enrollments when I do it on Facebook. Any tips on not saying so much? Yeah, I agree with you on that, because I have looked back at classes that I've done and thought, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. I said so many times. You know, I think that being aware of it is definitely key, because if you are more aware of it, you're going to stop and you're going to think before you say and it's better if you just pause rather than saying So being more confident helps you do that less. And so whatever you can do to be more confident, really, probably the more that you do, then the more confident you will be. Maybe even really trying to, not necessarily, I don't really want you to memorize what you're going to say, because it's going to be, there's just something that comes when you're more natural and you're kind of in the moment. But just really trying to have in your mind, these are the things that I'm going to say, and these are the things that I'm going to cover, and this is how I'm going to do it. That will help you say way less. But really, the more that you do it, the more that you will get comfortable with it, and that's when that kind of goes away. Because really, is a nervous habit. So I know that it's a hard one to break sometimes because I have had trouble with that. But the more that you get in front of people and speak in general, the more that you will be aware of that, and hopefully it'll go away. Okay, so I talked about host gifts. Again, I like to send them maybe a bigger version of something that I would give away. So I like to send, a lot of times I'll buy the Essential Life, the little spiral bound books that are a little bit cheaper in bulk, or you can buy the bigger books in bulk and you can get them for cheaper. And then I'll send that. If they don't, I'll ask them, hey, do you have a good reference book? And if they don't, that's what I'm going to send them, because that's going to encourage them to use more oils and use their oils more, right? It's going to help them be empowered in that. So I love to send them reference books that they can use with the oils that they have, or roller bottles, or spray bottles, or, those are kind of harder to ship. A lot of times if you're doing online class for somebody, you're going to have to ship this somewhere. So a reference book is a great thing to ship because it's flat. It doesn't cost that much to ship. Do you discuss LRP on your online classes? No, I don't typically discuss LRP, just like I wouldn't really discuss it in an in-person class, just because I feel like it's just a lot. And, I'm trying to keep these classes to 45 minutes, but it's really hard when you're, you want people to be engaged. And so if they're engaged, it's going to take a little bit more time to answer those questions, which is great. I love that. But, you're really not going to hold somebody's attention longer than an hour. And it really is like squeaking by sometimes to get in an hour. So I really don't discuss that. I say that there's a great reordering program that will get you, help you earn points, and it's really the best way to buy, but that's really all that I say. I don't go into LRP because I'm going to go into that whenever they get their oils and we do a membership overview. I'm going to go into it in more detail then. How does your online class close different than an in-person class? In an in-person class, really it's the same, I would say, in an online class. You really want to capture their excitement, and you really want to, have some sort of, sorry, let me regather my thoughts. Having a timeline is really important. And I'm sorry, I did not mention that. I usually make these events for 2 days, and I tell them that, if there's an enrollment special, or if there's a special promotion that I'm offering to these people, like, maybe a free clean hand spray or a free but small wild orange, whatever it might be, then I'm going to, the cap for that is 2 days. So that gives them a timeline so that you can follow up with them. Hey, I didn't want you to miss out on the free gift for enrollment, something like that. So it's really important that you make it time sensitive in an online class. But really, the thing that I have seen the most results in is if I can engage them right after the class, or if the host can engage them right after the class, because then they're excited and I'm asking them what they're going to get, and they're like, oh, well, I don't know, this or that, and I'm helping them decide, and then we go ahead and do it that night. So, or the next day. I mean, obviously, like within 24 hours is the best case scenario. So I know it's a little bit different because you're not there with them in person, but really engaging them online is kind of how you would like sit down with them after the class. So that's why it's so important. Like, drop everything you're doing and message these people right after. I'm not using PowerPoint on Facebook Live. I've really never done that, and I'll be honest, I don't like making PowerPoints. So I just feel like people would rather just listen to the information anyway. I might not be right on that. Some people love PowerPoints and they think they're, more engaging, but I just feel like if I'm engaging and they're, engaging with me, then that's to me, that's better than showing a PowerPoint, because I want them to hear what I'm saying, engage in the stories, and engage in the oils that I'm talking about. So I really don't know how to do it. I don't like making PowerPoints. So that's kind of my philosophy on that. Has there been a best day or night that you have found to have the most engagement? I normally do online classes during the week at 8:30, and that's 8:30 Eastern time. So right around from 8 to 9 probably, because you have to think it's going to last about 45 minutes or an hour. So you can't be tipping into like 10 o'clock. I mean, that's a little bit late. So I like to do them 8:30 to 9:30. And like I said, normally doing during the week, and usually on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday is when I like to do it. I go to church on Wednesday, so I don't do them those nights normally. But, during the week, I feel like it's pretty good because, they're home anyway. They're in the schedule, in the routine. Like they've gotten their kids in bed. Now they're going to either watch TV or surf the internet. So they just it's like a natural time to tune in. So that's what I've found the most engagement with as far as when I do them. Have I ever given enrollment to someone who did a large volume class for you? It just depends on if they're interested in the business, right? If they're interested in pursuing that and they want to share with people, yes, I'm going to let them, have all the enrollments from the class, kind of like I would at an in-person class. So that's just how I handle that. And we had that conversation before, just like you would have at an in-person class. All right, guys, well, we are right at the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to end it here, but I am going to share, I'm probably going to have to share on Facebook rather than Instagram, so all of you on Instagram, just hop over to the Live Naturally Tools Facebook page, and look in the comments, and I'm going to share those documents with you, and it's just going to go through what you would send to somebody that's hosting, and then give you even more tips on how to have a successful online class. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's just such an honor to be with you guys, and I hope this helps you kind of step out of your box and just try something new, because that's the thing. What got you to where you are may not get you to where you want to go. So maybe this is a new thing you try. And I hope these tips help, and I hope you have a great Tuesday. Bye, everyone.